Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene once again lashed out following Monday's House Committee hearing where she had attacked Dr. Fauci.
We have Jamie Raskin in there accusing us of worshiping Trump, worshiping as a convicted felon.
He is a convicted felon.
Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. And everybody, and you all too, the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd. There were riots burning down the country over George Floyd, and Raskin is in there saying we worship him. Excuse me, let me correct you, and this is really important. I don't worship, I worship God. God. And Jesus is my savior. I don't worship President Trump. And I'm really sick and tired of the bullshit annex I have to deal with constantly from the Democrats.
Well, it looks like somebody was a little bit triggered by Jamie Raskin's remarks. Look, nobody worships George Floyd, okay? George Floyd, what happened is that he was a victim of police brutality, okay? And there was a massive injustice in the country. And so people were rightly upset about it. And what she had called the riots that were burning down the effing country were 97% peaceful and were focused on criminal justice reform. Yeah. Look, when it comes down to it, when they talk about worshiping Donald Trump, a lot of Republicans have elevated him to being essentially a messianic type of figure. Okay, he himself has adopted a lot of this Christian nationalist language in a lot of his speeches. Say, I am here to defend you. Only I alone can fix it. They're going to come after me. I'm the only one that stands between them and you. I am the chosen one, the anointed one. Seriously? And you say, oh, we don't worship Donald Trump. Really? Really? Look, and not only that, but I love how the reporter's like, well, but he is a convicted felon, because she was doing the air quotes, right? No air quotes there. He's a convicted felon. That's what he is. But again, Marjorie Greene seems to have an issue with this, right? Saying, well, he's not a doctor because I don't like him. Well, tough. I mean, I don't like that you're a congresswoman. I don't like you. But I have to, you are a congresswoman. Look, the only one here with BS antics is Greene.
Oh no, it's nonstop BS and annex. You want to know why? The Democrats don't have anything. They're responsible for the lockdowns, forced vaccinations, kids being forced to stay home, people committing suicide, and all the horrors that this country lived through during COVID. Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's how I feel after that hearing. That's how the American people feel.
Oh my God, the Democrats are responsible for the lockdowns and the forced vaccinations. That never actually happened. The lockdowns happened, but forced vaccinations, no. Look, both Democratic and Republican governors, as well as local authorities, told Americans to stay home in the early days of the pandemic. Yes, it was the lockdowns, right? And there was yet another political figure who also urged people to stay home.
Therefore, my administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts.
Not only that, but look, there were no forced vaccinations. Government jackbooted thugs were not coming to your door and jabbing you in the arm. That's not what happened, okay? In fact, look, on the issue of forced vaccinations, if there were, they failed. I mean, according to, and this is in December of 2022, The Atlantic's Yasmin Tayeb had cited studies when she had written that by far the single group of adults most likely to be unvaccinated are Republicans, with 37%, that is over a third of Republicans, either unvaccinated or only partially vaccinated, compared with 9% of Democrats. So what are we talking about this forced vaccination? Forced vaccination! Really? Over a third of Republicans unvaxxed. Yes. Look, by the way, 14 of the 15 states with the lowest vaccination rates voted for Donald Trump in 2020. The other happens to be Georgia, where she is from. So Technically, she represents Georgia, but she seems to only represent herself and people who believe in conspiracy theories. But anyway, look, vaccine mandates have existed for a long time. They exist for public school students, but they do not exist for private school students and homeschoolers. They are exempt from vaccination, and this is not just in blue states, by the way. This is in pretty much every state. There is vaccine mandates for public school students. So she is completely wrong, as usual, about everything, basically. In fact, look, Dr. Peter Hotez, and this gets to the human rights violation, mass murder. Dr. Peter Hotez in 2023 estimated that 200 to 300,000 Americans died as a result of refusing the COVID vaccine. So, I mean, who's responsible for mass murder and crimes against humanity? It ain't Dr. Fauci, all right? In fact, I can't think of anyone in this instance that would rise to that level. You can, of course, say that, hey, the people who were unvaccinated were extremely irresponsible and responsible for a lot of their own deaths and or clogging up the hospital systems. Now, that had a spillover effect. That was disastrous. I mean, you had people, since a lot of the hospital beds were clogged up with people who could have been vaccinated but didn't, and then there were some that were, on their deathbed saying, "Please give me the jab." It's too late. It's too late. We can't do anything for you. You're literally dying. It's too late. We had situations like that, and it's really terrible. And then you also had people who, were unable to be vaccinated because they had adverse effects, of course, and that does happen. You also had people with weakened immune systems that, ended up being exposed or could have been exposed to the virus thanks to people who were largely unvaccinated, going out, getting sick, and then, having COVID get-together parties where they all try to gain natural immunity. Ridiculous stuff that ended up hurting a lot of people. And so, yes, they hurt people like that, and they also harm themselves. And that's the fault of not only them, personal responsibility, but also people pushing nonsense conspiracy theories and anti-vax rhetoric like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay? And now Greene and Republicans in Congress are still looking for someone to blame, not for the death toll, but for the temporary inconvenience of not being allowed to eat out at Applebee's during the pandemic, or go to church, or do these things that were, at the time, dangerous and life-threatening for a lot of people. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.